This episode of the Beauty Industry podcast was brought to you by Timely, the world's smartest appointment booking software helping beauty and wellness businesses better manage their time, sanity, and ability to generate revenue. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Reid. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. Today, my guest is Natalie Sellars. When you meet Kindred Toxin-free founder Natalie Sellars, it's easy to understand why her authenticity and passion has helped her build a loyal following of clients and skincare devotees. For 20 years, she has honoured her craft as a skincare guru, having worked and managed leading spas in Australia and New Zealand. For the last 3 years, Natalie has honoured her dedication to and belief in living toxin-free, working to create a salon experience that promotes kind beauty. She now uses only the very best organic and toxin-free skincare in each salon ritual, while her no BS approach makes her a trusted practitioner genuinely interested in the well-being of her clients. Today we talk about the first steps of being toxin-free, what kind beauty means, and 2, how you can honour your values while gaining your clients' results. Here's Natalie and I for Beauty Industry. Natalie, welcome to the Beauty Industry podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. I am so excited to record with you today. You have built such an incredible community and platform and business that I am just beyond excited to pick your brains and find out how you got there and the journey and everything like that. But what I want to do is start right back at the beginning, because I think often we see people like yourself who are so incredible in the industry and we're like, how did you get there? So I want to know, what was your first entry into the industry like? Where did you start?
Wow. So this is something I get asked a lot, like as to how I ended up where I am. But the very beginning, I left school. I went grade 12 and I went and did, in grade 12, you have to do like a, in work kind of placement. I went to a beauty salon and that's what I wanted to do from there. I ended up doing social work at university, but I only lasted 1 year. So I really wanted that university experience. And I failed stats twice and I was like, I'm out of here. I really do want to do that beauty therapy thing. So I quit at the end of that year. And then this is 1999, I think. It's a long time ago. In 99, I did the Strand Beauty Therapy, which was a course here in Brisbane. They don't exist anymore, but I think it was Tedesco and iTech, so I did both of those, and there was only 10 of us on the course, so it was very, very like private, and it was what I needed. That's how I learn. I need to be hands-on and I need to be taught by somebody. If it was online now, I probably wouldn't have even got through. And then the next year, so I qualified in that, and the next year I took a holiday to New Zealand and never came back again. I'm a New Zealander, but we moved over here, in early 90s, and found a job the next week, and away I went. So that was in traditional beauty therapy. So I worked in Wellington for about, at least 10 years of my career, learning from incredible therapists over there in traditional beauty. So all waxing, lash tinting, everything. And I was known as a really efficient Brazilian waxer. That was pretty much what I did, not facials at all. While I loved the skin, there really wasn't what facials are now. Back then it was very quick. An hour facial seemed like a long, long time, especially as a 20-year-old. I wanted all the quick stuff. So I worked my way up to management. So that was like the beginning of everything. And then I continued to work in traditional beauty therapy up until 8 years ago. I worked
Nice.
for only 3 different salons. I'm pretty committed when I commit. I always work my way up to management. And then my fiance got sick in 2008, which is why we left New Zealand. He got what people probably know as Lyme disease, or just unknown unwellness.
Yeah, right.
And my parents live over here, so as soon as he was well enough to travel, I brought him over here, and we started again. He became well again for a little bit in between, and then became unwell again, if you know much about Lyme disease. And I worked for someone else over here, and then when he became unwell again, I quit and became Kindred Toxin free.
Ah, how incredible. I think it's so fortunate that you knew that you wanted to do beauty therapy all the way back from when you were doing work experience. I don't think a lot of people know what they want to do that early on in life.
Yeah, well, it was a real, I just knew I wanted to touch people. Whenever mum's friends would come over, I'd just be touching them. I really needed a lot of physical touch is what I crave in people. It's kind of like my language. And as a child, that wasn't always accepted either from people. I'm extremely highly sensitive, and that's how I relate to people. Now I see it as a superpower, but all that time it was quite it wasn't as accepted as it is now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love that you talk about the languages there, the love languages, because I'm always like, I get drunk off like 2 wines and I'm like, what's your love language?
Yeah.
Tell me everything about you.
I'll know how to deal with you and I'll give you all the things. Yeah.
Exactly. And so talk to me about that waxing period, because it is such a different, end to the body.
So different. I loved interacting with people. I love knowing about their lives. I don't want the surface stuff. When you're doing Brazilian, you're not going in surface stuff. You're going into the how's your marriage, how's your kids, it's a really personal space. And also you have to learn how to hold space for people and make them feel really comfortable, because obviously they're very vulnerable. And that's what I loved. Brazilian aside, I just loved the connection, and then they would leave feeling incredible, which is why every beauty therapist exists, really. Anyone who's been in the game for more than 4 years has a passion for people. You just can't continue in it if you don't crave that connection with people.
100%. And I always see therapists, sometimes there's that therapist and they're in the business, and I think, you don't love people, do you? And you can tell straight away.
It'll be very difficult.
Yes, that's exactly right.
While I'm an introvert, I love one-on-one with anybody. Tell me everything.
Yeah, beautiful. And so you said there are 3 jobs. Oh my goodness, that's insane, because this industry is like an ever revolving door. It's almost unheard of now to have only 3 jobs. It's like 30 by the time we're 20.
The way that it was. I worked for Pure Indulgence over here when so my very first job was New Zealand. And then I came back for 3 years in between, and that was Pure Indulgence, where I actually learned quite a lot. They're an incredible company. And I was really well looked after because I worked very hard for them. So it was a great experience. But then I missed New Zealand too much. So I went back and they created a position for me, my old job, because they were like, oh my goodness, you're back. You can have whatever you want. And then I continued. We created a sub branch of the original company that I worked for, which was an express version of them. And I ran that because I could do Brazilians in 15 minutes. So I ended up completely burnt out.
Yeah.
But, I was driven and I loved what I did, and I wanted to create this experience for clients and for the owner of the company as well. And then when I moved over here after Taran got sick, I worked for the Beauty Boudoir, and that was my last job.
Beautiful. And then you made the transition into being your own business owner. How did you do that?
Well, so when I left there, I had chronic fatigue. So that was kind of like, it was actually just time out for me, but I knew that I wanted my own business. Taran said, you're not going back to work for anyone else. You have to do this for yourself. You're at this stage. So I created a little room in my house, which was literally, it was in an apartment in Wollongabba. I'm not sure about the legalities of that. And it was just literally just seeing my friends in the very beginning. Because Taran was working and had created his own company by then, I had this amazing opportunity to heal, to learn. I had changed all my food by that point. I ended up with what it was. It's fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome is what I had,
Wow.
amongst other hormonal things. But that's what it ended up being. So I really took that time to heal myself, to learn everything. And it actually probably wasn't until about 6 months that I clicked about all of the beauty products that I was using. And it still took me a further 3 years to transition everything over. So I never, in the beginning, my business was called the Beauty Box. It wasn't actually a toxin-free business at all.
How interesting.
Yeah. But I was using some like natural products and learning about that, but it wasn't like, I still had some other normal brands that I had previously used. But the more I, sort of educated myself on those ingredients, I was like, oh, I want to move this way. This feels better to me. I definitely sort of respond more to plants and ingredients that are of the earth. That's not saying I don't use synthetic ingredients at all, but that is my love for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. So was it the combination of that fibromyalgia on your end and then the Lyme's on his end that you were kind of like, hang on, let's just take it all back to basics? And
yeah, absolutely. We couldn't go on. We couldn't live that kind of lifestyle that we'd been living beforehand. We were party people. We were 1,000 miles an hour. We were, fun and fabulous, but it didn't really do us any good in the end. So we had to really come back to what's important: slow living, mindful living, and really taking care of ourselves and each other, and making everything sustainable so that we can both continue to work into our later years.
yeah, right. And how beautiful that your partner was so supportive there and said, actually, do you know what? You need to go and do this for yourself. Because I think not a lot of partners have that much trust or faith, or maybe they're a little bit pessimistic in the beauty industry. But how lovely of yours that he was like, no, go and do it.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I've always been so supported by my parents and everyone around me. I've had so much support.
Oh, how gorgeous. And so how funny that even though you were a beauty therapist using all of these products, it wasn't till 3 years that the kind of penny dropped for you and you realized that, okay, actually what I'm using in the treatment room does count.
It takes there's something about, like, when you're learning something, and this is what I say about even doctors and things, you're so tuned into what you know that it's very hard to sort of listen to new information. And that's just what happened. I was so trained in ingredients from the brands that I was using that I couldn't hear it until I could. Yeah, and I think that's really common. And because you're so busy learning what you're learning based on that one or two kind of brands and ingredients, that you just don't have the space for new information until you need it yourself, usually, or for someone else that you care about.
Yes. And sometimes as well, and I know this even of myself being an educator in the past, you are transferred information and generally you've got like a month or two before you're out on the road teaching it yourself.
Yeah.
You just grab like the key bits of information and then you regurgitate that to others. And then sometimes the therapists are doing the same thing. They're thrown into the deep end and it might be a week or a day before they're in with the client. And so they're just regurgitating the information. So sometimes we're just on this hamster wheel. We actually don't have a mind of our own to think or question otherwise. We just say what we've been told.
Absolutely, because that must be right, because we haven't had the time to research it ourselves. We're like, they know. Surely they know. They must know the things.
Yes.
They're such a big company.
Exactly right. So where did you start? Was it food or was it household
Food was
chemicals?
my first. Food was my absolute first. Food and exercise. I was an over-exerciser, so that was like my, and I was a dieter. That was obviously all part of that high living, that fast living. Again, you don't have time to think outside of that. You've just got to be slim and talkative and on the go all the time. And I wanted to be really fit, and I had to be really fit to kind of do all those hours as well. So learning about food again, whole food was really, really important. I originally did a massive cleanse. Not a cleanse as in a diet cleanse or anything like that with soups, but literally just going full whole food. And I cut out meat for some period of time. That was what my body needed at the time, and then I could put it back in again. And now we know even more about all of that gut health stuff, which is incredible. But this is, 9 years ago. Then started looking into beauty products and hair care and tampons and all the other things and personal care, deodorant, and slowly started to transition. Then your household products. It does take some time for sure. And now there's so many more brands than there was. But in the beginning, it was kind of like searching them out. And that was my job.
Beautiful. And so that's when you made, it almost sounds like a whole brand transition into new name, new face, new premise, new ethos. Was that kind of how it felt?
Absolutely. And I knew that, so it came to me probably in about year two, but I never wanted to put it out there until I was completely authentic in that you turn up to my house, you see what it is. Like I really wanted to be and embody that message of toxin-free living, which is still impossible. There is no such thing as completely toxin-free living. Chemicals are in even organic, it's impossible, but at least I'm extremely transparent in what I have changed over and share that knowledge with people.
And how did your clients find that transition? I mean, were some of them like, what the heck is this? Or did you just kind of attract the right people?
Yeah, I just attracted the right people. Like I didn't even have any, I also didn't take any of the clients when I left at all. That was something that I was very strong on. So I actually didn't even take the list. So I actually started from scratch. There were some people who found me, but I never, really had to change people over because they were already, with me and understood who I was and what I was doing. So that was kind of effortless.
Yes. And because you're living and you're breathing and you're doing it and you're so passionate, when you tell clients about it, it's a no-brainer that they're going to listen to you because you just embody everything that you're talking about. It's practicing what you preach at its finest.
Yeah, I think they just trust that I knew what I was doing. And if I was using it, then they wanted to as well.
After the break, Natalie shares with us how you can implement toxin-free living into your treatment room and shares whether she thinks the industry is getting better or worse at being green. But first, a word from today's beauty partner. Community, you know all too well how pro I am about all things online booking and working smarter, not harder in 2020, and our friends at Timely help you to do just that. Timely is a powerful booking and business management software for businesses of any size and ambition. Designed to help you save hours on admin, deliver exceptional client experience, establish a much-loved brand and grow your revenue with over 500 software updates every year, Timely is always on a mission to help you get the best from your business. Timely works beautifully with Tyro, Xero, QuickBooks, MailChimp, Square, Google Calendar, and more. So why not join over 40,000 global Timely customers today? If you've been thinking about making the switch from pen and paper or want to test a new salon software system, visit www.gettimely.com to start a free 14-day trial. The Timely team has an exclusive offer for the listeners of today's episode where you get 50% off Timely for your first 2 months. It's such an incredible offer by using the promo code Tamara20. That's Tamara and the number 20. Thank you so much to the team at Timely for making this episode possible. And now back to Natalie. Talk to me about, I've heard on your lives, which I often jump on across Facebook and Instagram, you mentioned the words kind beauty, and I'm wondering what this actually means to you.
Yeah, well, kind beauty was another sort of thing that really came through. It was one thing to be toxin-free, but you can still not be kind and be toxin-free. Kind beauty, and I do have it on my website, is one, it's being kind to the earth, obviously, choosing eco-friendly wherever possible and educating clients on that. So a lot of our products are glass. We've got recyclable boxes in our rooms. Everything we do is really trying to work with the earth and take care of her and respect her. And then secondly, it's being kind to others. So I work with Joining Hands, which is the homeless. I also work with a lot of anti-racism teachers. Sharon Holmes, who's here in Brisbane, is an incredible sort of leader in this field to ensure that we're being inclusive of Black, Indigenous, people of colour. And wherever possible, donating it to whichever sort of business I'm called to at the time. And most of the time that will be within my own community, my own clients, endometriosis here in Brisbane and things like that. And kind to yourself, obviously, really creating that space and understanding why you're doing what you're doing. If your practice of skincare is coming from a place of, I hate myself, I don't want wrinkles, I don't fit in, it's not going to land. You're never going to end up where you actually want to be, which is, I feel beautiful. So really practicing that kindness to yourself. How are you speaking to yourself when you're coming into the salon? Are you apologizing for your face? Which is, we don't have that in our salon. That's not something that, and if people do, I really help educate them to change their mindset on that. So yeah, that's another sort of way of bringing the kind beauty message through.
You've given me goosebumps. I feel like I just want to hug you, even though we're on video here.
Yeah, it's a new way of hugging, isn't it?
It's just so special, because when I originally heard you say kind beauty, I kind of just thought kind to the land, but there's almost so many different aspects there that I didn't even think of in terms of the word kind, which I really love.
Well, it makes it so broad then, and it makes your business so much more than just some products on your face. And that's what I want to stand for. And I want to stand for other women, people, everyone, basically, so that they can choose to be kind.
Yes.
And what that means.
And it's so important to monitor the thoughts that we have and the messages that we tell ourselves and that are in our brain as well. You know, you were saying that when you look in the mirror and you think, oh, I've got these gross wrinkles, or I've got these damn acne scars, it's really important that we are conscious of that language, because we are the only ones who are hearing that in our own head. And so if we're the only ones hearing that, then that's going to be in every single cellular being that we are. And that's how we reflect and represent on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. And now there's huge research into that brain connection. If you keep on playing that story, that's all you're going to get. And yeah, there's a lot of, we're not just woo-woo. I'm a little woo-woo, but there is a lot of science to what I do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, actually, I must tell you a story. I kind of always knew about talking to yourself and the thoughts that you say to yourself, right? But the weekend before the Australian Beauty Industry Awards and the Sydney Expo and that whole hoopla, that weekend last year, my face was like falling off, because like what you were describing, I was just running around on coffee and adrenaline and eating McDonald's and all of this shit food. And I was exhausted, and my face was literally like leaking lymph, right?
Yeah.
And I was going, oh my goodness. And I went to the chemist, and he's like, what the heck is going on with your skin? And I said, I've got this massive weekend. I've got to put makeup on. I've got to be on film. I've got to be on camera. What am I going to do? And he just gave me some steroid cream, as they do.
Yeah.
And I got into my car and I said, that's it, Tamara. You are going to sort this out, and you are going to tell your cells how to behave.
Yeah.
And so on the way home, I said, in 24 hours, my skin is going to be healed. It's going to be happy. It's going to be healthy. And not a word of a lie, 24 hours later, when I woke up the next morning, gone.
Absolutely, because it's a different vibration to your cells. It is what it is. You can't fake it too. You have to really imagine yourself being there, doing that, and it just happens.
Yeah.
How amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely out of this world.
How does, you're so gross, I hate you, feel in your body compared to you're beautiful, you are loved? The difference you feel even when I say that is so incredibly parallel that you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely right. So I want to talk about the products that you stock, because you do, even the wording on your website is prestige small batch brands. What is a prestige small batch brand? And then how do you find these? As you said, when you first started, it wasn't natural and green and organic, and these words weren't really out there. How did you get those into your business?
Wow, lots of research, so much research. So like you and with any brand, basically, you're looking for a certain ingredient. So I'm looking for vitamin C. How is that bioavailable? I'm looking for B3. I'm looking for different essential oils. I'm looking for different oils. And then I research like crazy. And then I contact the brand. I ask for a full-size product because I will only ever use things for 3 months before I even recommend it. And especially with small batch, the ingredients can change a little. Right. And that's how I ended up with I think I've got about 7 or 8 different brands. And I handpick different products. So I might recommend a different cleanser to you from a different brand, which back in the day was just unheard of. You just had the whole brand. But what I found is, and this is just my personal experience and my opinion on these different products, is this works really well with this. This is the better one for this. So it's kind of like the best ofs. But when we're talking small batch and green, there's so many different levels of it all. So small batch, even within small batch, there's different levels. There are, so what my true favorite is probably micro batch. So that it's handcrafted, where a creator is either an aromatologist or aromatherapist or a formulator themselves, and they will buy in oils from local, so extremely fresh. They'll know the creators, and they will blend themselves, and then I will get that product the next week. So that's super fresh, super amazing. A lot of these people will create bespoke products too, so they will create products for my clients with specific needs. So that is like the ultimate. Then you've got the next level up, which is small batch, which can be again just created in small batches. And there's, as we know, there's quite a few brands that might have the same ingredients. They're not original formulas. And that's still great because it's very clean. It's got beautiful ingredients. And then you'll be attracted to that brand, maybe their ethos. And that's the next level. And then you've got clean, which is not necessarily plant-based, but still very clean and toxin-free. And that's usually made in big batches with natural preservatives.
Right. Oh my goodness. Who knew? I'm learning so much right now.
I know. And they all might be organic.
Ah, right. Okay.
It's very confusing. And I mean, it's up to each person to choose their level of where they sit. Because some people just won't go past that prestige level. I have a blend of all of them in the salon. Yeah.
Gorgeous. That micro batch just sounds absolutely divine. I mean, knowing exactly where the product comes from, that's so special.
Absolutely. And quite often they will be no synthetics and no B3. No, that'll just be pure oils, butters and things like that as well. So it's that kind of level.
Yum. Now, there is often the argument that natural and organic and green can't do what the high performance ingredients do. What's your take on this?
Go have a look at my Instagram and talk to all of my clients. Literally.
Mic drop.
I think that because I have the respect of the years in the industry prior to this, having switched over and getting better results, especially now because they're coming through with some incredible ingredients with scientific backing. You've got, like there's, and then the proof of the client getting those incredible changes. We've got products like Biology. We've got Wildcrafted, which now has the new Bakuchi oil, which is a retinol alternative, getting incredible results. Awards left, right and center. I mean, these products are up against those brands and getting results.
Right.
So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, they've really come a long way. In the beginning, it wasn't so much, but now, I've got no problem switching people who were from traditional brands over to these brands, especially because they smell incredible and they look incredible and they're just really luxurious products.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, the smell factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it doesn't smell nice, you just don't want to put it on your face.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not drawn to it. That's another reason how I know which product I'm choosing next. Because in amongst everything, I'll be drawn to that product. And that's what I want clients to do. I want them to want to use it. That's where the change happens. They can't use it once. They need to be using it consistently.
Yeah, I love the sensory aspect of facials when, you get to close your eyes and pick 3 essential oils or, just smell different scents and you don't really know why you want that, but you know that you need that in your facial today.
Yeah, it's so important. Lots of essential oils hold different, not only like skin aspects, but mind, body. It's, there's so much to it. And I've been really lucky to have aromatherapists and aromatologists around me, educating me and creating for me in that way. It's just been amazing.
Beautiful. Now, I'm interested to know about your skin needling that you introduced on your menu, because a lot of people think that the two don't translate, natural or green, organic with skin needling. How do you intertwine that in your service menu?
Easy. I don't use any toxins with it at all. So I do it without anesthetic. So the reason why I took it on, and the same with LED, is because with natural green beauty, you can get people to the point where they are acne free, but then they've got the scarring that's really affecting them. And I would have to tell them, go to Sarah at the Skin Suite, who uses different products to me, who's an incredible therapist. But then her ethos was a little bit different. And so it was kind of like this, this ending for me that just didn't feel right. But I really wanted to research and make sure it sat right with me, and that I really did want to do it, which is why it took me so long to take it on. I'm like, is that different? But no, it is toxin free. And because I'm doing it with them, taking them through that, I also don't focus on, it's for acne scarring, mainly, that I'll do it for. It is not for what people typically call anti-aging. That's not what I'm here for at all. I will do it for acne scarring and take them through for that. But we use biology, the vitamin C, for that. So it's completely toxin free. We get amazing results with it. We don't go too deep into the skin at all. And with the Exceed machine, the barrier is still intact. So that was another thing that was really important, and why it took me so long, again, researching, understanding how this all worked and how it could work within my business. So that's how I've managed to do it. And it's been really successful, and I'm so happy that I can take people all the way through, and then they can go off and do their own thing.
Yeah, well, that makes so much sense to continue it. I mean, it would be such a shame, and you would feel like almost you're letting your own values down by saying,
yeah, it was.
We've got to step number 8, but I can't get you to 10 because you've got to go over there and do it.
Yeah, and just the cost of those machines. My man has now been out of work for a while. He was unwell again for some period of time. So financially, these machines, like LEDs, like nearly $30,000, and the skin needling is a good couple of thousand. So if I was going, I had to save to ensure that I could afford it to, keep my business going. So yeah, it is definitely something you need to think about and save for, and talk to your clients about.
And it sounds like a lot of your moves in business, while they might be, very strategic, they're very considered as well. It sounds like you're not somebody who just jumps on the bandwagon of trends because it is trending. I mean, you sound like you're doing a lot of research into these things, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm research crazy. Like, yeah, and I want it for me as well. Like, what would I want to use? I want, really high quality, and I don't want to waste my time on things. And I've got a reputation to uphold as well. If I start bringing in things that are fluffy, then I'm going to lose that reputation.
Absolutely. Do you think the industry as a whole is getting better or worse at the natural and organic?
Better. I think, and this is the thing, while it might not be small batch and prestige, if you can get those dirties out, I don't care. We've got to look after each other. There are things here that are dangerous and accumulatively dangerous. And not to put fear, I don't even talk, and on my website, I'm not into that. I just want to educate people above it and so that they know what is safe for them. We've got women getting breast cancer. We've got women, people getting sick left, right, and centre. And it has something to do with it, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of business owners and also therapists who are contemplating moving into business and starting their own businesses who want to probably go down the organic, natural, kind of clean, green pathway, but they don't know where to start. What's your advice?
Oh my goodness. There still isn't anything. I need to create it. Looking at working with brands, like becoming a corneotherapist is a great start. So working with brands like Dermavisuals is probably a great start. And or Water Lilies, another great one, run by Michelle. there are some really great holistic brands that are out there that you can learn from in the beginning, and then you can add into those if you want to. They're two of the top ones that I always tell people about, because they are probably the cleanest, small batch or clean and green. Otherwise, you can work with an aromatologist to have a brand and created just for you. You can work with people, and there's small batch brands that can create products just for you as well. So yeah, that's probably how I would start product wise. And then and same with getting into holistic beauty. Once you've do any beauty therapy course, because there's none out there that are specifically holistic. Get that done, and then do everything post-grad. So you might look into gua sha massage. You might look into manual lymphatic drainage massage. You might look into aromatherapy, and then just figure out what feels right for you within all of that, and then create your own brand and keep it evolving, because mine certainly doesn't look like it did 8 years ago or even last year. Just keep following what feels right for you.
Yeah, little steps at a time, I think, as well. Once you've had a look at the brands and you've kind of started to do a bit more research and upskill, then perhaps take a look at your consumables or your recycling. I think sometimes we can look at the whole business and we get overwhelmed because there's so much, and we think, oh my God, how am I going to replace the cotton rounds and then the spatulas and then this and then the bins? And it's just kind of like, you just start with one little small thing, and it makes life so much easier.
Be kind to yourself first. That's the thing too, because it is overwhelming. So it's like, no one has it right, not me, and I'm the person who branded myself Kindred Toxin-free Facials. So it's little by little changes help, and and little bits of education where you can.
Yeah, beautiful. What is next for you? I mean, you've created such a beautiful name and premise and space. What do you, if anything, have in the movements for the future?
More online. So I'm at capacity now. I've closed my books, and I really want to be able to, like, even for therapists, and I get them contacting me all the time, creating more online content so that people can easily and efficiently switch over. So that will be the next thing that will be going on. More masterclasses in person. I love doing the masterclasses. I do them with a natural makeup artist. We travelled around Australia over the last few years, and they were really successful. Lots of interactive classes, but that and online will be the next steps for me.
Oh, I love that. Maybe we can do a little beauty event, how to go Kindred.
Yeah, wow, that would be incredible. I love events. Events are fun.
Gorgeous. Natalie, thank you so much for coming on and having a conversation with me today. It's been absolutely brilliant to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me, share all the good stuff.
My absolute pleasure. What a divine human. I absolutely adored this conversation with Natalie today, and I so hope you did too. As Natalie said, there's no perfect way to be clean, green, or toxin-free. The perfect way is to just make a start. By doing your own research, looking into the information and education that people provide us beyond the textbook or manual is only going to help broaden your skills and knowledge, which we can pass along to our clients to help get them better results physically, emotionally, and mentally, all which we have the very cool power to do as therapists. As you all know, we are an independent podcast without the support or backing of a major network, so if you have loved today's conversation with Nat, please make sure you show us how and where you're listening by taking a photo on your phone and sharing it across your socials, making sure you tag at kindred.toxin-free-facials and at Tamara Shaw Reid, and of course at Beauty Industry. Subscribe, review, rate, follow, all the good things you guys know I say at the end of every single episode. And again, a very, very big thank you to all of you who do that for us. Until next time, stay connected.